Hi, this is Justin from FITHAUS Personal Training, and today we're going to talk about weight loss, fat loss, muscle building, and strength gaining. The most common fitness goal that we get is losing weight. A lot of people think they want to lose weight, and it is very important to be at a healthy weight, but it's definitely not the most important aspect of getting the ideal physique that a lot of us want. When we look at a lot of these actors and athletes, they look great, they're ripped, they have abs, they also have what we call toned bodies, muscle showing. It really doesn't depend on what their weight is. It depends more on what their fat content and their muscle content is. So for example, you and I, we might be the same weight, but we might look completely different. And so we want to focus on how we get to that ideal physique, not through weight management, but through fat and muscle management. Instead of focusing on what your weight is, instead we want to focus on body composition, which is the breakdown of how much fat to muscle you have in your body, and also water and bone mass. You can figure these things out with caliper testings, different scales, or calculations used in girth measurements, but I just want to emphasize that body composition is definitely more important than weight tracking. When we talk about body fat percentage specifically, that's the number you want to know if you want to know how to look your best. As far as toning or having abs or being ripped, those are all very highly related with your body fat percentage. Once we can dial into our body fat percentage, then we can also figure out if we want to lose more fat at that point, get a little bit more ripped, or focus on muscle building, get some size in there as well. So let's focus on body fat percentage when we're thinking about getting that ideal physique, that look that we really want to get. To reduce your body fat percentage, we want to follow a strategy that we call cutting. So by cutting, we're actually putting ourselves in a caloric deficit on a day-to-day basis in order to reduce our body fat percentage. At the same time, your weight might be going down a bit as well. However, we do want to minimize our muscle loss at the same time, and there's definitely different things you can do in order to ensure that that happens. When it comes to losing fat, you want to make sure that you're not going too aggressively, you're not overloading on the cardio, restricting yourself too much with your nutrition as well, because if you're too aggressive, it's going to be very hard on your body and you are going to lose a lot of muscle mass. And so that kind of defeats the purpose. We definitely want to focus on fat loss primarily in this process of cutting. Another common fitness goal would be building muscle mass, especially with men, and we'll call this bulking. So when we're following the bulking process, we're focusing specifically on building muscle mass versus just that total weight number. Although you're likely to build your total weight up, we don't want to build too much fat either. Usually there's a ratio of about equal fat to equal muscle being built, and if you can do that, that's pretty good. We want to focus on nutrition during this phase and not going over the top, because if you go over the top, you eat whatever you want and as much as you want, you're probably going to put on a lot more fat than you want to. With bulking, it's really important that we also are training properly. A lot of volume training using weights is the best way to stimulate muscle growth in combination with being in a caloric surplus. So kind of the opposite of what we just talked about in the fat burning goal. So we've already talked about two common goals of losing fat and also building muscle. Now we're going to talk about a third goal, and that's gaining strength. Having big muscles doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be stronger or you can lift heavier. We need to plan that into our fitness regime separately. Having a strength phase is going to give you a stronger foundation for you to later on build more muscle and lose more fat, but it's also going to help you be more confident in your lifts, lift heavier, and have a stronger nervous system to muscle connection. All right, guys, so we talked about the differences between a cutting phase, a bulking phase, and a strength gaining phase. In future videos, we're going to talk about how to incorporate that and how to actually lay out your program so you're hitting all three. Because really, we don't want to do all of them together, and there is a specific strategy that we can use to be successful with these three different phases. So thanks for listening, and I hope you can watch our next video on strategizing your phases.